Peace everybody, back with another video. This is protesters clash with Minneapolis police following death of black man seen pinned down in video. Now there is a video that is out that the police are saying, well, he resisted arrest. That is not true at all. It's a lie. They're making it as though that he resisted arrest, and that it's not, like I said, it's not true at all. The guy George Floyd, who is the guy that the officer murdered Monday in broad daylight, had the nerve to kill this man. I mean, it's sickening, it's disgraceful, it's not at all what I expected. But when I saw the video, I was sickened by it, and I was totally angry what the Minneapolis police did to the to George Floyd. Now yesterday the story finally came out, and of course I'm doing this one. 4 police officers were immediately fired after this story came out. Now, I only knew about the 2 officers. Where the other 2 came from, I don't know. So they've been fired. And now, in the protest, I watched it on Facebook yesterday, and oh my gosh, thousands of people took to the streets to get justice for George Floyd, who is the man that was killed by a police officer. When the protesters got to the police station yesterday, I didn't care if the building was graffitied or not, spray painted or nothing. I didn't care about that. But what happened was that the protesters broke windows. They smashed up police cars by breaking the windows and that. I was like, oh my gosh, what have you done? Then all of a sudden the police came out throwing tear gas, shooting people with rubber bullets. Some of the protesters had tear gas in their eyes, and the only way you could get it out is with milk. That's the only thing that's going to help you with the tear gas to get out of your eyes is milk. I was just so angry yesterday at these police officers, and I still am now, because, you know, this killing of the black community is totally uncalled for. It's uncalled for. The black community should never, ever be a death sentence at all. Never. But yet these police, they think they could just throw their weight around whenever they feel like it, and thinking that nobody would know about it. Well, they are wrong. What they did was wrong, and now these police officers are sitting at home ordering pizza while they're on paid administrative leave, so the FBI can investigate the what happened Monday. Minneapolis police sprayed chemical irritants at demonstrators Tuesday night as marchers protest the death of a black man allegedly at the hands of police. So the Minneapolis police did spray chemical irritants at demonstrators. In other words, the pepper spray, they threw tear gas. After the protesters broke windows at the police station, after they broke and one person had put a sign up on, or taped a sign to the window. It says, "Blood is on your hands." So yes, the blood is on the officer's hands. Another protester sprayed paint the building, says "F the police." I was like, what? And so here is one of the photos that happened. This is where the tear gas is fired as protesters clash with police while demonstrating. So, as you can see, all the smoke in that's from the tear gas that they were throwing at the police officers. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is probing the death of a man identified as George Floyd shortly after he was apprehended by Minneapolis police Monday, after disturbing video emerged on social media showing a police officer with his knee on the man's neck as the man repeatedly yells out, "I can't breathe." Yeah, so the Bureau of Investigation is probing the death of a identified as George Floyd, so they're investigating what happened and everything else. Because it happened Monday in broad daylight. And of course, the disturbing video emerged on social media, so it was all over the place yesterday on Facebook, and and of course, social media is showing a police officer with his knee on the man's neck as the man repeatedly yells out, "I can't breathe." So the officer in Minneapolis deliberately killed this man, and he was unarmed. George Floyd was unarmed. He never had a gun in his possession at all. So what happened was the police decided, oh, well, we're going to handcuff him anyways. And so when they got him on the ground and that's when the one police officer just put his knee on his neck until he died. Here's another picture of the protesters standing up against the police. "I can't breathe, please, the knee is in my neck," the man said in a video showing the police officer pinning him to the ground. "I can't move, my neck. I'm through. So George Floyd kept saying, "I can't breathe." And he kept saying, "Please, the knee in my neck," the man said in a video showing the police officer pinning him to the ground. "I can't move, my neck. I'm through. So, I mean, what did George Floyd ever do wrong? He did nothing wrong. There's Cup Foods in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Believe me, I never even heard of that place, so I know what I saw in the video. The guy decided to call the police on George Floyd, saying, oh, he's here forging a check because George Floyd was black. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you calling the police on this man, and what forgery are they talking about? So now we know that the owner or the employee at the store had called the police for that reason, saying, oh, there's a guy here forging a check. Excuse me, if you have a checking account, forging a check wouldn't be a good thing at all. So this guy at the store had lied to the police to get George Floyd out of the store that he was at. Protesters gathered Tuesday evening at the 3rd Precinct and also at 38th Street and Chicago Ave, the site where the incident occurred. Minneapolis ABC affiliate KSTP reported. So the protesters did gather at the 3rd Precinct and also at 38th Street and Chicago Ave. So they started from that street and they walked all the way to the police station, to the 3rd Precinct in Minneapolis. There's another picture where they at the police station. This is the 3rd Precinct they're at in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thousands gathered there at the police station. A KSTP chopper crew estimated thousands were in attendance, the station said. Yes, there were thousands in attendance. Everybody was at the police station. So that's where they all went to protest there, because they want those police officers arrested instead of being fired with paid administrative leave. Here's all the protesters that are on their way to the police station. So this is what they were doing yesterday, marching to the police station. A photo posted on social media appeared to show broken glass at the 3rd Precinct station. House and protesters reportedly chanted, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," in reference to the incident. So yeah, when there's a photo posted on social media, I don't know where, I'm still looking for that one, to appear to show broken glass at the 3rd Precinct station. So yeah, some protesters did break some glass yesterday, and it was outraged as heck yesterday. And protesters reportedly chanted, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," in reference to the incident. So when George Floyd said he couldn't breathe, he wanted the officer to get off of him. Even the bystanders told the officer to get off of him, and they did not listen. So here is the image of what this officer did to George Floyd, and as you can see, blood was coming out of his nose, and they didn't even care at all. The Minneapolis Police Department announced Tuesday morning that the FBI will be a part of the investigation into the death. Minneapolis Police Chief Midorina Arradondo said Tuesday that he pledged the department's full cooperation with any investigations. So yeah, the police department have no choice but to cooperate with the FBI, whether they like it or not. The Minneapolis Police Department announced Tuesday morning that the FBI will be a part of the investigation into the death. So that's what they will do, be a part of the investigation of George Floyd's death. Early Tuesday, the mayor of Minneapolis tweeted that all 4 responding officers involved in the incident have been terminated. So in other words, they've been fired. They are not going to go back there anymore. But these police officers, they're sitting at home ordering pizza all day long, probably. If not, they're out at a donut shop. Say, "Oh man, we got fired because we killed him." Well, yeah, that's what happens when you kill somebody, allegedly. You're gonna get fired. Now here's Mayor Jacob Frye with the tweet on his Twitter. 4 responding MPD officers involved in the death of George Floyd have been terminated, and this is the right call. So yes, so the mayor fired the police officers. Being black in America should not be a death sentence, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frye said at a news conference Tuesday morning. For 5 minutes, we watched a white officer press his knee into a black man's neck. 5 minutes. When you hear someone calling for help, you're supposed to help. This officer failed in the most basic human sense. So Jacob Frye, who's the mayor of Minneapolis, he said being black in America should not be a death sentence, and I agree with that. It should never be a death sentence. Tuesday morning, for 5 minutes, that's how long the video was for, but the officer held his knee on George Floyd's neck for 7 minutes straight, and did not let up until he was dead, or until the EMTs got to the scene. And when George Floyd was taken to the hospital, he was pronounced dead there. Frye called the incident awful and traumatic, saying it serves as a reminder of how far we have to go. Well, the police brutality is unacceptable. It is not to be allowed ever, but these cops took it to a whole different level. And day by day, these cops are killing the black community for no reason at all. Because they have no excuse of what they are doing. And when you ask the officer a question, whatever, they don't care what your question is. They're just going to bump you off anyway. And this is terrible for what they have done. These officers do not deserve to be on the streets no more. They deserve to be in prison for life. There is a petition going around, change.org, to mandatory put all 4 police officers in prison. In a statement on Facebook, Frye added that, "I believe what I saw, and what I saw is wrong every level. To our black community, to the family, I'm so sorry," he wrote. Yeah, so he went on a Facebook statement that he said that, "I believe what I saw and what I saw is wrong on every level." And yes, it was wrong on all levels for what this officer did to George Floyd, who never did anything wrong except go to work and go home to his girlfriend. And here is a picture of George Floyd, who is the man who was murdered Monday by the police officer. Police did not identify the man who died, but civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing his family, said he was George Floyd. So the police didn't identify him. But when you got the attorney, Ben Crump, he did say that was George Floyd. So the officer did not bother checking for ID or nothing. They just thought, we're just going to pin him to the ground and kill him. And that's what they did. And I am so sick of these cops thinking they could just get away with everything. We all watched the horrific death of George Floyd on video as witnesses begged the police officer to take him into the police car and get off his neck. Crump said in a statement, "The abusive, excessive, and inhumane use of force caused the life of a man who was being detained by the police for questioning about a nonviolent charge." So that nonviolent charge was about the forgery of a check. And this is why the guy in the store called the police and said, "Oh, there's a man here that's trying to forge a check or whatnot." And that was not true at all. "We will seek justice for the family of George Floyd as we demand answers from the Minnesota Police Department," he added. "How many white-black deaths will it take until the racial profiling and undervaluing of black lives by police finally ends?" Yeah, that is a good question. That is a good question. How many white-black deaths will it take until the racial profiling and undervaluing of black lives by police finally take? And you know what? The protesters that went on in Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday, they are sick of it. They're tired of these police keeping them like slavery or whatever. Allegedly, the police are white supremacy as usual, and you know how they are. The police have been getting away with it way too long, and it's time for the police department to go. Actually, throw out the whole police force, because everybody is sick of this. Nobody wants to keep dealing with this day in and day out every day. It's inhumane. It's unjustified. It's unjust. People want justice for this man. Joe Biden tweeted about the tragedy Tuesday night, writing, "George Floyd deserves better and his family deserves justice. His life mattered. I'm grateful for the swift action in Minneapolis to fire the officers involved. They must be held responsible for their outrageous actions. The FBI told conduct a thorough investigation." Excuse me, since when, why should Joe Biden even talk, first of all? Joe Biden is the one who told the black community, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Excuse me, Joe Biden, but who gave you the right to talk and tweet this out on your Twitter? Hello, Joe Biden. Did you not say that? I know what I heard. You came out and told the black community, if they do not vote for you, they are not black. Joe Biden said this, and now all of a sudden he wants to change his tune with this? Is he kidding? And here's his Twitter account. This is his Twitter. After what Joe Biden said, oh, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Excuse me, Joe Biden. But who died and left you boss all of a sudden? And now he wants to change his tone about this? Is he kidding me? Why is he even talking about this after what he said the first time? This is a disgrace out of Joe Biden himself. And of course, here's the breaking news thing that's on the Twitter also. Giovanni Thunstrom, owner of Conga Latin Bistro in Minneapolis, confirmed to ABC News that Floyd worked at his bistro as a security guard for more than 5 years. So George Floyd was a security guard at a bistro, and he was working there for 5 years. So all he was doing was going to work, going home to his girlfriend. If they had any kids, then it would be a family too. But so yeah, that's how long he was working at the bistro, for 5 years as a security guard. This hurts. Thunstrom said, "I loved him like a brother." Yes, so Thunstrom said that he loved him like a brother. So, and I I know he's hurting right now because all around this country, everybody is devastated by this, and maybe people. There are some people that don't know about this, but now they're going to find out. He described Floyd as beloved by customers and employees alike, saying he often worked extra hours and never complained. He was not working there at the time of his death due to COVID-19 closures. Yes, so he described Floyd as a beloved by customers and employees. They all loved him, no matter what. They were like his brother to him. They were like their brother to him. So that's how much they loved him. And now these people are going to miss him so much that there will never be another one like him again. Thunstrom said the first learned of Floyd's death when another security officer texted him saying he had been he's seen a disturbing video and that it sounded like Floyd. So there was another security officer who worked at the place he texted an employee that George Floyd was being killed by a police officer, allegedly. And it's just sad that these people at the bistro are going to miss him, and that their hearts are broken, obviously. But nothing will ever settle until they get justice for George Floyd, who was just minding his own business and going to work every day. It broke my heart. He didn't deserve that, and the way he got killed. The officer had no compassion. Thunstrom said, I feel bad because when you know for someone for so long, it's different when you see it. It looks so disturbing. That police officer could have saved his life. He couldn't breathe. Well, the officer didn't give a damn. He didn't care. And while his little crony partner over there blocked him to protect him from people trying to get the officer off of George Floyd, the guy, or the officer, I should say, who was on George Floyd's neck, took out his pepper spray and was ready to pepper spray the witnesses. And while his little crony officer, who was over there protecting him, said, oh, you better move back or else. Excuse me, people have a freedom of speech around this country. I wish I was there. I would have done something, he said. I don't want him to be another statistic. So he said that he wished that he was there and he would have done something. And it's sad. It really is sad. And of course, here are the people who are mourning the death of George Floyd. And yeah, I mean, they are like everybody knew this guy. Everybody knew George Floyd. And now that his life has been taken, this is what it's resulting to. This is what it resulted to yesterday. This is totally uncalled for, that George Floyd had to die by a police officer. It really is uncalled for. I mean, these cops, they're not doing their jobs right. They say, oh, we go by the book. Yeah, you go by the book, all right. The police officers go by the devil book. That's what they do. 4 Minnesota lawmakers, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Senator Tina Smith, Representative Ilhan Omar, and Representative Betty McCollum, released a joint statement Tuesday night calling for accountability in the death of Floyd. Ilhan Omar, she need to go back to her country where she belongs. She ain't got no room to talk here in this country. She's a hateful person too. Tina Smith, Betty McCollum, and Amy Klobuchar, they all had a joint statement about the death, or night calling for accountability in the death of Floyd. In a letter to U.S. Attorney Erica McDonald and Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman, they say they are demanding thorough investigations at all levels into the events that led to this tragedy. So yes, they gotta investigate every single levels. That means crooks and nannies, crooks and every single piece of corner. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's left undone, then they're going to have to go back and re-examine what happened. They can not leave nothing undone whatsoever. While we understand that the facts are still coming to light and that state and local authorities are reviewing the case, we believe that the seriousness of the incident requires additional independent oversight by law enforcement at all levels. The joint letter said, "We urge you to ensure that all evidence is quickly secured, including all video footages, and to aggressively pursue justice." So yeah, so they want to make sure all the video footages. I mean, all around the store where he was at, and where the guy had called the police on him, making up a story saying, "Oh, there's a man here forging a check." Yeah, okay, tell that story. And George Floyd had a security job for 5 years, right? How is he going to forge a check if he's got a job? While we understand that the facts are still coming to light and the state and local authorities are reviewing the case, so that means they got to review everything from top to bottom, or from bottom to top, whichever way you want to call it. But they want to pursue, and they need to pursue justice for George Floyd's death. Mr. Floyd's death appears to be yet another horrifying instance of excessive force leading to the death of African Americans across this country, the lawmaker wrote. Yes, so they used excessive force. Now, I don't know how in Minneapolis, Minnesota can get away with that law, because that law should have never been that long. It should have been banned a long time ago. But they're saying it's okay with it. No, it's not okay with it. You do not use excessive force on somebody when they're not even doing nothing wrong, or they're not even resisting arrest. And George Floyd was not resisting arrest at all. They just dragged him out of his car, literally. They pinned him to the ground so he could not be allowed to move at all while he was handcuffed. Klobuchar, a former prosecutor in Hennepin County, where the death took place, also called for a thorough outside investigation into the incident in a statement on Twitter. Yeah, so they got to look at the camera footages outside, the FBI does. They got to see what happened. And of course, the camera does not lie. It never lies, because it's right there. The camera's right there. It tells everything. It does not show George Floyd resisting arrest at all. It showed him being dragged out of his car by the police officers and handcuffing him. That's all it showed. George Floyd never resisted arrest, ever. We heard his repeated calls for help. We heard him say over and over again that he did not breathe. And now we have seen yet another horrifying and gut-wrenching instance of an African American man dying. Klobuchar said, "Every single person in every single community in this country deserves to feel safe." As the mayor of Minneapolis noted, this tragic loss of life calls for immediate action. And yes, it does call for immediate actions. And the protesters took the streets as soon as they found out yesterday, when the video had emerged. They sure did. Thousands showed up. They all went to the police station. They broke windows, graffitied the walls, which I really don't care. Had a sign up that says, "Blood is on their hands." It was taped to the window of the police station. Police cars were being smashed. In other words, the windows being broken out. They were throwing stuff at the window like milk, eggs, or whatever it was. But then the police retaliated by throwing tear gas and shooting rubber bullets at people. Then everybody had to scatter. Some people were blinded by the tear gas, and of course you got to have milk to clear your eyes immediately, because water is not going to help you any. Use milk. And of course, here's Amy Klobuchar Twitter statement that she has. She added that justice must be served for this man and his family. Justice must be served for our community, and justice must be served for our country. Yes, justice must be served for this man. He did not deserve to die. The last thing that he said was mama. He was calling for mama. And that was the last breath he took before he died by this officer. Here is the grocery store where it happened at. It's Cup Foods. Like I said, I never heard of this store, so this is something new to me that I ever heard of. The guy inside, he called the police and told the police, "Oh, please, I need the police immediately. There's a guy here with it forging a check." Excuse me? You didn't bother asking a guy if he has a bank account or something? And you over here calling the police on this guy for no reason at all? Making up this lame story saying, "Oh, there's a guy here forging a check." What? Is he serious? That guy should be fired too. The police union representing the officers did not immediately respond to ABC's News request for comment Tuesday. Of course not, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to be exposed, whether they like it or not, because the police have no right to use excessive force. The Minneapolis Police Department said Monday that officers were initially called to the scene on a report of a forgery in progress. In a statement on their website, so it's on their website, saying they responded to a call on a report of a forgery in progress. In other words, a forgery check. Why would you want to call somebody on that? I mean, yes, I could understand there are forgeries going around. I could understand that. But George Floyd had a job has been a security guard for 5 years, and the guy in the store didn't even ask if he has a bank statement or anything. He's just sitting up there calling the police, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. But I don't know, but but the guy needs to be fired and not be hired anywhere else. The statement added that officers were advised that the suspect to be under the influence, and that he physically resisted officers. That's a damn lie, because George Floyd was not under the influence, and he did not resist arrest. Now that video was flowing all over the place, where the new video had emerged that they're saying, "Oh, well, George Floyd resisted arrest," and that's a lie. He later appeared to be suffering medical distress, said officers called an ambulance. He was transported to the Hennepin County Medical Center by ambulance, where he died a short time later. They're saying he later appeared to be suffering medical distress. What kind of a medical distress? Because this guy can't breathe, and the officer was on his neck, and after all these bystanders told him to get off of him and let him breathe. The police department said there were no weapons of any type used by anyone involved in the incident, and no officers were injured. Well, of course not, no officers were injured, because George Floyd didn't have a gun. No gun. He was just a security guard at a bistro, and if they got out of hand, he would escort them to the curb. And I don't mean like throw them out or anything, just escorting. Here is Evan Frost's Twitter account. As you can see, people all are fired up. Still raining. Well, yeah, it did rain in Minneapolis yesterday, so that's no big deal. The rain could wait, or just don't even pay attention to the rain. They started throwing tear gas at the protesters. Now they are following protesters with drones and sandbag guns. So now you got, of course, they started throwing tear gas at the protesters. The police did. Now they are following protesters with drones and sandbag guns. Now what good is that gonna do? These protesters are still going to keep protesting, whether they like it or whether the officers like it or not. They are sick of these cops bullying them all the time, day in and day out, every day. And of course, here's a thing. I do believe this is on Twitter too. Oh no, unless it's Instagram. I don't know. Oh, it looks like Twitter to me. Of course, the names of the people that have died. Say their names: George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Doug Lewis, Breonna Taylor. So those are the other names that people were killed by police besides George Floyd. And of course, we can never forget Eric Garner, who was choked by a police officer in New York City in 2014. Say their names to get justice for them. And of course, with George Zimmerman in Florida, he got away with it. He got away with killing Trayvon Martin. And George Zimmerman should have been in prison a long time ago, but with that stand your ground law in Florida, that's what's keeping them safe right now. But all these people that have died by the hands of police, say their name. It's the only way they're going to get justice. Leave your comments below. I am out.